Welcome to the Building Master Builders podcast, brought to you by Master Builders Victoria. Since 1875, we've championed high standards and supported professionals across the building and construction industry. This series is all about empowering people to build a better future, with expert insights, practical advice, and real-world experience. In this episode, we're exploring one of the most important shifts in our industry, sustainability and energy efficiency in construction. Joining me today is Dr Phil Alviano, Senior Advisor, Future Built Environment at Master Builders Victoria. With over 20 years of experience in sustainable construction, Phil has led the development of nationally recognised training programs and the Green Living Accreditation. He's worked across government, academia and industry and is a certified Passivhaus consultant with a PhD in ecology and land management. Together we'll unpack what's changing with energy efficiency, the Green Living Accreditation, and how builders can stay ahead of the curve. Hey Phil, thanks for joining.
Morning, Sam.
I guess we'll start off, we'll talk a bit about energy efficiency. There's been some changes over the last couple of years.
Yep.
So what has changed recently? We're talking about energy efficiency. What has changed recently in the requirements for construction in Victoria?
Yeah, sure. So with the National Construction Code update for 2022, which only came in last year into effect, we went from 6 to 7 stars, so an increase in energy efficiency requirements of the house and the amount of energy that the house is estimated to use during its lifetime. But we also had the introduction of whole of home, which included things like hot water systems, air conditioning systems. If you had a pool, it includes the pool pump.
Okay.
So that incorporated an energy budget, if you like. So there was kind of like looked at the efficiency of those appliances, and depending on which appliances you were installing, you could trade off on different appliances, but it also looked at adding solar panels to the house to make up for the energy used by those appliances as well.
Okay, so rather than every single appliance or entity having to meet that expectation on their own, it's kind of looking at the holistic picture of the project.
That's right. So, yeah, so they could be added together, and in a sense it gives you a bit of flexibility in terms of trading off one for the other. So if a person still wanted a gas heating system, they could have one, but you would trade off on the energy efficiency of other appliances, but also maybe install solar panels to make up for that as well.
Yeah. How are these changes being received by the industry?
At first, industry finds it difficult to make the jump.
With any change, there's some reluctance there.
That's right. There have been a lot of changes recently in the industry, so these are just more changes that the industry needs to cope with.
Yep.
We've run a whole bunch of information sessions around the changes to make up for that, and so try to bring industry up to speed and show them that it's perhaps not as scary as they might think, or not as difficult as they might think.
So those information sessions, were they webinars, recorded videos? If people are looking to find out more, where can they go and find that information?
So we ran some sessions in person last year. So we ran 18 sessions last year around the state. And then we produced those sessions as webinars.
Okay.
And those webinars were recorded and they're available on our YouTube page.
Well, that's good. It's a bit difficult to go back to one of the in-person sessions from last year, but good to hear that there's some recorded content there too.
Yes, yeah.
What do you see on the horizon, or I guess what's coming in the space of either sustainable building standards or energy efficiency?
Yeah, look, the main one at the moment is the move towards electrification of buildings, so houses and commercial buildings.
Yep.
So we saw an introduction from the 1st of January 2024 in Victoria for a requirement that any house that required a planning permit, so not every house, but those that required a planning permit would have to be all electric houses. So all the appliances would have to be electric, so no gas fitted.
Right. That's been an easy change for the industry to embrace.
Look, mostly yes. There is a bit of controversy around that. Obviously, some consumers like their gas heating systems, so they might find it difficult. And in a sense, it's been on the builder to have that discussion with their clients about that as well. So that's sort of added a little bit more for the builder as well to explain that no, I can't fit that appliance, so I have to do this.
Yeah, the client has a strong preference, but perhaps they're not understanding the regulatory overlay behind it, or the climate that they're having that their project's now being
That's right, and
built within.
that's where we find our members often in that sort of space as well. So the information we provide and the training we do with our members tries to help them around those sorts of discussions as well. So we try and provide a bit more information to our members around that to make that easier, if you like.
So those workshops that you held around the state last year, what was the response from some of the people that attended that?
Look, we had pretty good turnout for those sessions. Those sessions are always really good and really important because it gives people the chance to have a chat and ask those sometimes awkward questions that they can't ask in a webinar. So some of the feedback we got was like that. Look, my clients prefer gas, so I'm going to have this difficult conversation. How do I do this whole of home calculation? It's a new one.
Is that on the builder to do that calculation too?
It needs to be done as part of the building permit process. Right. So, and usually it's done by the NatHERS assessor. So the person who does the energy rating for the house also does the whole of home assessment.
Okay, and he had a really good presenter for those workshops too.
Fabulous presenter. Myself. So it was quite a busy year getting around the state last year and delivering those sessions. But we had a pretty good turnout, and as I said, it's always good to get people in the room because you do get that real perspective about what our industry and what our builders are thinking about these changes. You get a chance to respond to a lot of false information that's out there.
Right.
They kind of hear this or that from different people.
Where they're hearing it from friends, family, colleagues, or maybe it's even in the news and there's more to that story.
Exactly. And other trades perhaps as well. So it's good to hear those concerns that they're hearing and then provide, I guess, the best information we can.
Were there some examples perhaps that you could talk to now where perhaps a common misconception or something where they were concerned about this is going to be a big issue, but really when they look at the detail, perhaps it's a bit easier to navigate? Yeah,
look, I mean, a lot of our builders, particularly in regional areas, are kind of familiar with electric homes because there's not gas everywhere, obviously, in the state. But the common one we always get is heat pump hot water systems that, don't work when it's cold. Which is a bit of a misconception since most of these systems were developed in the Northern Hemisphere in snowy conditions. So, and generally there's a reason for that. Sometimes it may not be the best unit. So we always talk a bit to the builder about, look at the brand, obviously have that discussion with your client, make sure it's a brand that's supported with maintenance and information around the brand. So it's not going to break down very often and those sorts of things as well.
Sounds good. So you had those workshops. What are some of the other ways that master builders are helping members adapt to these changes? Yeah,
so quite a few years ago now, we developed the Green Living program, and that's a training program that we run for mostly residential builders or small commercial builders that looks at these sorts of issues, energy efficiency in construction, so getting the design right, passive solar construction, windows, the importance of windows. So we try and demystify a lot of these things to make it, again, as easy as we can, because sometimes it's kind of daunting for people. And again, they hear lots of things. So we just try and break through the noise and provide just really good advice to make this process a whole lot easier for the builders. We talk about indoor air quality issues. A lot of clients are concerned about the indoor air quality of their houses, what's in the glues, what's in the paints, all those sorts of emissions as well. And so we cover off on all of that. Water efficiency, not such a huge issue, not such a big discussion at the moment, but certainly it's still important.
Depends on the season that we might be in. And
that's right, yeah. We haven't had a drought now in Melbourne for a while, so nobody's talking about it anymore, but that was big 10 years ago when we were in the middle of a drought. So people were talking about things like
3-minute showers.
Yeah, putting a bucket in the shower. Grey water systems were big, and what that means. So
the Green Living program, it doesn't just talk about putting buckets in the showers. It's been updated over the years to include the energy efficiency and perhaps the 7.
That's right. Yeah. So it's certainly changed really a lot since we started. We used to talk about air conditioning systems, evaporative coolers, gas boosted solar hot water systems. Those kind of have pretty much fallen by the wayside now, or we're talking about them in different ways. Electrification, obviously now, we're talking about that and how important that is in a house and what they need to think about. Again, what sort of hot water system they're putting in, what are the important things, what's important about the air conditioning system, what's their options there. So those sorts of things have changed over time. So the course continually changes and adapts to that as well.
Oh, that's good. You also did some work with Solar Victoria recently. How does that work with Solar Vic also help us keep our members in the industry up to date with current practices?
Yeah. So Solar Victoria have been really good in terms of coming to us and saying, look, we'd like to help upskill the industry and providing some funding for us to do that as well. So that included those sessions we ran last year around the state, and also the ability to run the webinars, record the webinars, have them on our website. We've got a training program on our website, so it's online, so people can do it in their own time. That covers a lot of these things off as well in that. That's free, and that's available on our training website as well for members. And so that's, Solar Victoria's input into terms of upskilling the industry. And we've also they've enabled us to talk a lot about solar as well. So what are the things we need to think about when we're installing solar? If we're doing it on a new home, which we can do now, and people can get rebates for that, how does a builder work with the solar installer to maximise the efficiency of that? For example, they're on the roof, they've got their roof protection up. Yep. So that's the time they should be getting the solar installers in while all that equipment's already in place.
Yeah, the OHS team did a presentation with Solar Victoria probably a couple of years ago now as well, speaking with some of those installers about how they engage with the builder and being proactive with that communication to that, highlighting that there are specific times because it was a shift from putting solar panels on existing properties to that solar work is happening in new build construction too.
Yeah.
And the messaging was really about that really proactive consultation between the builder and the solar installer. It needs to go both ways about scheduling of that work.
That's right. So we can get it. So obviously it makes it a lot easier to run wiring and cabling and hide that. So
when all the walls are open, certainly.
So it's all neater and more efficient.
Yep.
But you're right. The scheduling is really important in terms of, the safety requirements as well and maximising those benefits, but also to getting the equipment in at the right stage so it's not, not available for theft as well.
And it might be that maybe the install needs to be staged a bit too. So you can get on site when there's scaffolding or perimeter rail in place to put those panels in on site, but you may not be able to do the final connection until later on in the project. So it's about really having that conversation between the builder and the installer to make sure you're all on the same page.
Yeah, that's right.
There's an efficient way to go about it.
That's right, yeah. And then, again, you want to maximise your benefit of doing that.
Yeah. Now, back to the Green Living program. In terms of as keeping it up to date and making sure that those that are participating in the program are getting the most up to date information. I understand you've got a conference.
Yes, yeah. So one way we try and keep people up to date once they've done the program is we have an annual conference, which kind of covers off on the sort of important things we're hearing at the moment in that sort of sense. So our next Green Living conference is on September the 5th at the One Hotel in Docklands. This year we've got a new venue, a new sustainable venue. The hotel there has done a whole lot of features that makes it more sustainable. So it has LEED Silver certification. So that's like our Green Star rating system for commercial buildings. It has water reuse systems. They have waste minimisation strategies. They reused a lot of the elements from the old area that was there. So lots of repurposed items, including bluestone pavers, timber, and steel trusses as well. So it's great to be going to a new venue to refresh the conference, and also one that kind of makes sense or fits the philosophy of the conference, if you like.
I was just reading here, timber from historic rail bridges.
That's right. Looks like they've done a fabulous job. I'm looking forward to have a look at it. We've got hopefully we'll have a presentation from the builders who built that building, so that'll give us a bit more of an insight into the how you do those sorts of projects as well.
Very good.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of the Green Living accreditation, why is it important for builders and designers in today's regulatory and environmental landscape?
Yeah. So the course was created to make this easier for builders. Provide them some good tips, some good information about how they can maximise the benefits of the house before they start working on more expensive things to get that energy rating up, or to fix the mistakes, if you like. Okay. So we start with focusing on design, so the importance of design and passive solar design, and then we sort of look at all the other elements of the house. As you said, and we've talked about it, it gets updated every once in a while to make sure that we're up to date with the changes. But it's also a program that is linked to our national training program. So people who complete it's 2 days of training.
Right.
So people who complete the training and complete the assessments have get a unit of competency, which is related to our certificate 4 in building and construction as well. It's a part of our Cert 4 in building and construction. So everyone who comes and does that with Master Builders does the Green Living course, if you like. And from that, then we have what we call accredited Green Living Builders. So if they like, at the end of the course, they can choose to become accredited, and that gives them options around using the branding and access to our website. So we list all our Green Living Builders on our website so people can search for them as well. And so that has those added benefits, if you like.
That sounds good. So it's not just, you're not just handing out the Green Living accreditation for anyone who inquires. They have to put a bit of work into it. Sounds like it's a bit more it's focused more on, as to frame it lightly, prevention rather than a cure for sustainable practices.
Yeah, I like to, I guess, describe it as a way of alleviating aggravation, if you like, because sometimes people sit there and think this is really hard. How I'm going to do this is going to be expensive.
Yep.
So our goal is to try and reduce some of that anxiety, if you like, around those changes so people can understand it's different, but it's not that hard in that sense, as long as we get the basics right and focus on the basics. But we also like the program because people who come and do it don't just walk away with a brand.
Yep.
It's only the people who complete the assessments and then wish to continue as Green Living accredited builders. Which means every year they sort of send us a bit of information about what they've been working on. And that's not an exhaustive audit or anything like that. It's just an idea of what people are doing out there, and gives us access to some really useful information as well.
That sounds good. So what role does the Green Living Conference play in this accreditation program? It's not just for those that are accredited, it's open for everyone?
No, everyone can come along. So we have often, we have people from, Building Designers Association as well come along. So it's a real mix of industry people. We do get Green Living people come along, and it's always good to see them come back and link in again with the people they did the training with and other like-minded builders.
So it's networking and a bit of a community that forms around it.
Absolutely,
too.
Yeah. It's really interesting to see that community and see people talking to each other and getting a whole bunch of answers as well to their questions from each other, which is great. Yep. And that's what we want. We want industry solving their problems. Yeah.
Are there some key themes or sessions this year that you might like to highlight? Yeah,
look, this year we're looking at things like the importance of air tightness. It's a topic we've kind of touched on in the past. It's not something that's measured in the building code, but it's a really important part of the energy efficiency of a house and doing it correctly. And we hope it will be part of the building code soon, because we see if the builder can use it as a way of increasing the energy rating, then that's great. We're seeing more and more of our members doing that sort of thing in their building, so they're building more airtight buildings. So it's good to talk about that, methods to do it, at least cost, if you like, but also to make sure we're not causing other problems in the future from being too airtight. So we talk about those sorts of issues as well. We've got a couple of builders talking about their projects. So I always like to drag in a couple of our members who aren't always used to speaking publicly, if you like.
You invite them and they're enthusiastic about the opportunity.
That's right, yeah. And so they come and talk about their project, which is always great, because we want builders talking to builders about what they're doing, talking to them, giving them a few tips, talking to them about what might not have worked, and perhaps a different way of doing it, and that's really important. I really enjoy that part of the conference, and I really enjoy watching these builders talk enthusiastically about their projects, because often they'll love it, and I think I talk about it quite often. It's really interesting when I get a phone call from a builder who's probably been building for 30 years or so, and rings me up and talks to me about, I've got this great project, Phil. So it's really good to hear about a bit of excitement in their voice, if you like.
Yeah.
So that's a nice thing to do as well.
That's great.
We've got a couple of builders. We've got a company talking about what's coming in terms of off-site construction and how that might aid the industry and aid them as well. So just a bit of a glimpse into the future, if you like, around that as well. So, yeah.
That sounds good. Now, do you have any, final words of advice for builders or those in the construction industry who might feel overwhelmed by the pace of change?
Yep. Yeah, look, and I acknowledge that it can be quite overwhelming. There's lots of resources available. We've got a bunch of resources on our YouTube page.
Yep.
And that includes things like the webinars we've run over the years. We've also got a couple of...
we can probably link to some of those as well in the description of this episode too.
Okay, yep, that's a good idea, because they're not always that easy to find.
Yep.
There's also a bunch of walkthroughs that we've done with various of our builders and their houses. So they're talking about what they've done in their build and seeing and answering some of those questions as well around what they've done. So that's always really useful place to start. And just look also to, if they've got a query and got a problem, they can obviously contact us in that sort of sense. So hopefully we can reduce the amount of false information out there as well, or reduce the anxiety around some of these changes as well. And that's what we're trying to do.
It sounds good. All right. Thanks for your time today, Phil, and thanks for tuning in to the Building Master Builders podcast. Today we talked about the evolving landscape of energy efficiency in construction, a bit about the shift to 7-star, the training, the resources, and the Green Living Program Accreditation Conference as well. If you're looking to understand any of the latest requirements, upskill your team, or explore some of those sustainability pathways, Phil and the team are here to support and can answer some questions. And you can reach out to them by either the general inquiry line, the 9411 4555, or you can send something through via email to mbassist@mbav.com.au. And don't forget, resources like the Green Living Accreditation, online training and webinars are available on our website to members and also on our YouTube channel. They're a great way to stay informed and build a better future. Thanks, Phil.
Thanks, Sam.
This podcast was recorded on Wurundjeri land. MBV pays respect to elders past, present and emerging.